Um, I suffer from a particular affliction. I'm directionally challenged, and I spend a lot of time getting lost. I see this as a great opportunity to make new friends, actually. I'm a glass half full person. Parliament House in Canberra, I spent a lot of time there, and even though it's a very well laid out building, I still managed to get myself completely lost, and O'Connor and Noonan often see me wandering around there looking like a little lost sheep, and again, making new friends. Now, contrary to the stereotype about the political classes, everyone I encounter has been incredibly helpful to me when I've been lost. Instead of telling me to piss off or telling me where to go in no uncertain terms, whether it's the politicians, the advisors, the admin staff, the security staff, the catering staff, people see me lost and they actually not only give me directions, they actually take me by the hand and deposit me at the next place because they know if they give me directions, I'll just get lost again. On one occasion a couple of years ago, I was standing in front of a lift in Parley, looking typically lost, and a security dude was standing next to me and he said, "What you looking for, mate?" And I told him the room number and he said, "Well, mate, for a start you're on the wrong floor." I said, "That'd be right, mate, I'm directionally challenged." Told him a life story, as you do, and he said, "Look, I'll take you there." And I said, "Mate, thanks, that'd be beautiful." While we're standing in the lift, he looks at my security pass and he says, "So where are you from, mate?" And he looks and he reads it and he goes, "St Vincent de..." He goes, "You from Vinnie's, mate?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Come here, let me give you a hug." I said, "Oh, that's very nice of you, mate. What have I done to deserve this?" And he goes, "I can't thank you enough, the help you've given me." And I said, "I don't know what you're bloody talking about. I'm the one that's lost here, mate. You're helping me." And he said, no, you know what I mean. Your people have helped me." I said, "Yeah, my people, they're great. He said, "Can I tell you my story?" I said, "I love stories. I eat them for breakfast. Tell me a story, mate." He said, "I was going through a really rough patch." He said, "I got this job now in security. It's not great, but it's a start." He said, "But I went through a really rough patch health-wise and long-term unemployment. I was living in Nowra." He said, "And Centrelink sent me for a job interview in Wollongong. So I caught the train, went to the job interview, sweet as, came out of the job interview and looked in my wallet and realised I didn't have 2 bob to rub together." And he said, "I thought to myself, John," he said, "who am I going to turn to in my hour of need? Who can I turn to for assistance? Who can I reach out to? Who can I trust to help me when I'm in this moment of despair?" And he said, "You said you're from Vinnie's, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, actually it was the Salvos." He said, "You don't mind, do you?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I do, mate." I said, "I don't want to hear good news stories about the competition." He said, "That's a joke, right?" And I said, "Yes, mate, that's a joke." Anyway, a couple of weeks later, and it did take me to my destination and hand me over. A couple of weeks later, I ran into the then National Secretary of the Salvation Army, Kelvin Alley. I said, "Kelvin, I got a story that you can't beat, mate," because there is a bit of friendly rivalry. I mean, they've got their fancy hats and bloody tambourines, and we at Vinnie's just got aprons, you know. I mean, just talk about inequality, you know. It sucks. Anyway, I said to him, "I've got a story for you," and you're going to be... I told him the story, and he said, "John, I can top that." And I said, "I doubt that very much, Major." He said, "I can." He said, "Since you ran into that bloke, I've run into him as well." And he said, and he told me the identical story that he told you, with this significant difference. He said at the end of it, in the end of telling me his story, he pulled out an envelope from his pocket and it had $20 in it, and he gave it to me and he said, "Can you give this to the Salvos at Wollongong who helped me out?" Now, this story makes me weep, comrades, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not going to read it on the front of the tabloid press, and you're not going to see that story on Current Affair, because this bloke and people like him in low-paid work and in unemployment and underemployment are the ones who are blamed for their own exclusion, demonised, dragged through the dirt, degraded, made to undergo compulsory drug testing, compulsory income management, every kind of indignity that can be thought of to make them feel like they are dirt. At worst, they are criminalised. At best, they are told that they are somehow sick. And if they're patient enough, they're told, if they wait long enough, some of the wealth that Christy was talking about will trickle down. like snow, like little drops of rain. Well, you know, this bloke who's been told to wait for the wealth to trickle down, he didn't wait to give when he was able to give. And what he gave was a big chunk of dough for someone on a low income. And what he gave was not charity. Make no mistake, that $20 wasn't charity. That was solidarity.